The Winnipeg Blue Bombers beat the Toronto Argos in the Eastern Final, and in so doing have advanced to the Grey Cup for the second time in 3 years. The Bombers will face the Edmonton Eskimos, whose offensive line looked awesome against the Stampeders. What are people in Vancouver saying about the outrageous ticket prices? And Winnipeg will pay a hefty price if they can't stop Ham on Sunday.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the CFL Report this week from Edmonton. Peter Watts with you. Tracy Ham has joined me. A terrific win for this franchise on Sunday in Calgary, and it did not come as easily as a 20-point lead might have suggested.
Well, I thought Calgary was into the game right up to the end. I think when we scored in the last 4 minutes there, that really put them out of the game, but they were actually right in the game right until the end of it.
You made some big plays, not big in terms of huge gains at times, but big in terms of being opportunistic.
I think a better terminology, Peter, is we made some big plays. You know, you had guys come up with plays that Calgary didn't anticipate coming up with those type of plays. Todd Smith, for example, I thought he came up with the best game of the year.
Well, I say you in terms of the collective view of the Edmonton Eskimos, but you make a good point that there were some big plays made by everybody. And if you didn't have a chance to see the game or perhaps miss some of the highlights, let's go back, take one more look at a great Eskimo victory Sunday at McMahon Stadium.
Intense, yet nervous. For the Calgary Stampeders, this was more than just a game. It had been 19 years since the Stamps were in the Grey Cup. Now they were just one win away. But standing in their way, a team with an unwavering will to win. In the first quarter, the Stampeders had their chances, but somehow they came up empty. You could see the emotion change from rejoice to disappointment. It would be an omen of things to come. In the second quarter, quarterback Danny Barrett threw a strike for what looked to be an apparent touchdown. But once again, disaster struck.
I think it'll be always known as the one we let get away. Yeah, we had some opportunities early, and we didn't capitalize and come out with a 7. We came out with 3, and you know, I think that sort of swung the momentum over to them. We let them stay in the game with us.
Despite many chances, Calgary trailed 13-12 at the half, and in the third quarter, as the sun faded in the west, so did the Stampeders' offense.
Our key was to shut out the 2 outside guys, and we'll go from there and stop the run.
They stopped both, including star receiver Derek Crawford.
We thought they were pretty good defensive backs to go out there and challenge them, make them beat us, and that's what happened.
With the Stampeder offense sputtering, it left the door wide open for Edmonton's number 8, who was starting to put on a show. Tracy Ham began to control the game.
You try to turn it up a notch come playoff time, and you really concentrate on your assignment and no one else's assignment but yours.
His assignment was obviously to mesmerize the opposition. It was vintage Ham, running for 110 yards and passing for another 331.
Tracy Ham was the difference in the third quarter. He made some spectacular plays to keep drives going, and anytime you have a guy like that on the field, you know, the only thing you can do is try to keep the ball away from him.
And keep the ball away from him, they could not. Ham threw a pair of third-quarter touchdowns and cruised to a 43-23 win. You could see the jubilation on head coach Joe Faraghelli's face and throughout the Eskimo entourage as Edmonton advanced to the Grey Cup behind their leader, quarterback Tracy Ham.
We talk a lot about unsung heroes, or perhaps we don't talk enough about them, but you had a bunch of guys in Edmonton that played very well, not only Sunday but all season long, and I think number 67 of the Eskimos was as steady as anybody.
Yeah, I think Rod's been the most steady lineman that we've had all year. He hasn't been injured. and he's one of the seasoned vets on the offensive line unit. And Rod is, I can say nothing but praises about Rod because he's been steady over the last few years I've been here, and he keeps things glued together up front.
What does he do that you like as a quarterback? What does he do for you as the center?
Well, he called the defensive formation out for me, so I know what to check if I have to make a check. He's probably the brains behind the offense because he gives me the calls, and that allows me to make my audibles if I have to audible. And no one really realized that but me. But Rod is really a very bright guy, and he understands defenses just as well as, I guess, any quarterback in the league. And I think he brings that intangible into our offense that takes some of the pressure off Tracy.
All right, well, let's show you a little bit of an example from Sunday's game in Calgary about what number 67 means to the Edmonton Eskimos.
Center Rod Conop is the cornerstone of the powerful Eskimo offense. As an offensive lineman, Conop's job is to not make mistakes rather than make big plays. Against the Stampeders, Conop and the offensive line made very few mistakes, but Conop knows his efforts won't make any headlines in the morning papers.
Well, that's life as an old lineman. I actually prefer it because an old lineman can play for a long time. You play in sort of anonymity, but you get to enjoy the good times just as much as anybody else in the team. But we're going to the Grey Cup, and we'll see what happens next week.
Ah, yes, Rod Conop, a great player for the Eskimos Sunday in Calgary, a good player for the Eskimos all season long, in fact. And speaking of the season that is just about complete, as we take a time out here on the CFL Report, let's look back on a few great moments from 1990.
57 seconds to the half. Barrett, Scott Smith, touchdown. And that is the first Stampeder touchdown through the air in 1990.
Welcome back to the CFL Report from Edmonton. I'm Peter Watts. The 1990 East Division Final had been a Winnipeg-Toronto dogfight all season long in the battle for first place, and yet the Bombers won the division because they were able to handle the Argos not once, but 4 times this year. Sunday's finale was a great final at Winnipeg Stadium. Let's look back now on some of the highlights from that game.
The song remains the same for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Another win at Winnipeg Stadium to improve their home record to 9-1, and another display of suffocating defense. Entering the game, they knew they had to stop Mike Clemens, the East Division's most outstanding player. And stop him, they did. On the ground, the pinball was held to 36 yards. In the air, he had just 2 receptions for 12 yards.
If you look back and how you try to be rational about it, it's a feeling of satisfaction, knowing that you played with a bunch of guys that really gave it their all year long. We had a lot of difficulty during the season. The guys really rallied around each other, didn't complain, just sort of, took up their boots and just played hard. And I think that was the case today as well.
On offense, the Blue Bombers didn't score a lot, but they scored enough. In the end, Tom Burgess did what was needed.
I don't think they expected me to take a long run anyway. And what I was thinking when I saw the hole is this is a chance for me to get to 10 yards and get another chance of getting the ball down the field. And then there was just nobody there, and I got a chance to get another 20 on it.
Trevor Kennard came in and kicked his 4th field goal of the game, putting the Bombers into the Grey Cup.
I hope people remember that about Trevor, because they always remember the ones he missed and don't bring up the '88 Grey Cup when he kicked the winner. And now they got this. This was a major game for him. I guess he kicked 5 field goals today, and you know, that is in a playoff game that just looms so large to score points. And I should have given him a chance to kick 6th. I look back on that one. But anyway, I think that he was very poised and did a very good job, and our protection team and our center and our holder did a good job.
So the Bombers are back in the Grey Cup, looking for their 2nd victory in the past 3 years.
We got a good group of linebackers, a good defense, a good team, and what else can I say?
You're going to the Grey Cup?
Oh, we're going to the Cup. You can bet that. We're going to the Cup. All right. Love it, baby. We're going to the Cup. We're going to the Cup. And it's to you, baby. Here's the Canadian to Winnipeg.
And I'm going along, too.
There we go.
You know, we haven't talked a lot this year about unsung heroes, and yet if the guy with the football is the focus of our attention on each play during a game, it's quite often one or more of the players away from the football who hold the key as to whether or not the play will work. Let's look back to the East Final Sunday in Winnipeg for one such example.
At 6 feet 7 inches and weighing over 300 pounds, it's hard to miss Chris Walby. But as an offensive lineman, it's easy to overlook his fine play. Last Sunday, Walby played his usual flawless game, leading the blocking on running play and containing the likes of pass rushers like James Quick Parker on pass play. Walby's blocking on this play gave quarterback Tom Burgess enough time to throw an easy touchdown pass to Perry Tuttle. And with one reason, he's our choice for Eastern Conference Finals unsung hero.
Okay, time to get our resident experts involved in handicapping this Sunday's Grey Cup game now. John Wells and Leif Pettersson, of course. The Eskimos or the Blue Bombers? Leif Pettersson to go first.
Thanks, Pete. When the Edmonton Eskimos began the season, I think they had 2 goals in mind. Number 1 was to finish first in the Western Conference, and of course number 2, to get to the Grey Cup. Now, when they didn't finish first, I think it was a blessing in disguise for them, because they finished the season horribly, and they really needed these 2 victories over Saskatchewan and Calgary to get back on track. Well, back on track they are. They're the same cocky group that began the season, and I think that's a good sign for them as they head into this weekend. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they beat the Toronto Argos last weekend in typical Winnipeg fashion. Play great defense and have just enough offense to win. But will they have enough offense to beat Edmonton? That's the real story. You know, I think the best matchup in this year's Grey Cup may occur before the game's even played. Both teams love to talk and yap, and I can see a real battle shaping up between Winnipeg's Tyrone Jones and James West against Edmonton's Jeff Braswell, if he plays, and Larry Willis. Now, if the players aren't too tired from talking all week, this game has some possibilities. Now, who will win, you ask? Well, I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be Edmonton with another Grey Cup. Now, incidentally, I've been 4-0 in playoff predictions, and my poor partner, John Wells, yeah, you guessed it, he's 0-4. So, Wellsy, you've only got 1 more week to get at least 1 right.
I know, Leif, and I think I've learned my lesson. Never pick for the good of the league. I just thought that a Calgary-Toronto Grey Cup might have rekindled some thoughts of those fun days in 1971. And the Stampeder fans might have made Grey Cup week just a little bit more fun. But I was off on both counts, particularly the Calgary story. The Stampeders were not even close. So for that reason, I think I'll have to go with the Eskimos, despite the injuries to Jeff Braswell and Andre Francis. Tracy Ham was outstanding last week, and on a fast track in Vancouver, I think Ham will be too much for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, despite the fact that the Blue Bombers still have the best defense in the Canadian Football League. The Blue Bombers, though, do not have enough offense to beat Tracy Ham on a great track, Grey Cup Sunday in Vancouver.
All right, John. Well, I was really impressed with the way the Edmonton Eskimos were able to plug holes in their defense and when injuries beset them last Sunday in Calgary, and how they were able to play against the Stampeders. And so on that basis, I have to pick Edmonton to win the Grey Cup on Sunday. I certainly think their offense is more capable than is Winnipeg's of moving the football against the defense. So I'm going with the Eskimos, but I hope it'll be a close game, and I suspect that it will be, perhaps decided on a field goal on the final play of the game. What a great finish. It would make 4 in a row for the Grey Cup. We'll talk about the Grey Cup just ahead on this edition of the CFL Report, coming to you from Edmonton. Stay with us.
This season, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been able to contain Tracy Ham better than any other team. The last time the 2 teams met was on September the 28th. Ham rushed for only 24 yards. He didn't have much better luck through the air. Ham completed just 7 passes for 61 yards and 1 interception. Winnipeg beat Edmonton 48-25. If the Bomber defense can control Ham like they did that day, then they very well could win their second Grey Cup in 3 years.
Welcome back to the CFL Report from Edmonton. I'm Peter Watts. Time to meet one of the young men who'll be a great story, I suspect, next Sunday for the Edmonton Eskimos, wide receiver Keith Wright, number 71.
With Craig Ellis and Tracy Ham getting most of the credit for the explosive Edmonton offense, it's been easy to forget about wide receiver Keith Wright. In his second CFL season, this 26-year-old has quietly caught 54 passes for 900 yards. A good season and plenty to brag about to the kids he spends time with during the off-season.
During the off-season, I work at a group home that my mother runs for little guys age from 6 to 10 years old. So that's in Los Angeles, California. So during the off-season, that's where I spend most of my time, and it's really fulfilling when you get a chance to help young kids, and a lot of times you see yourself in some of them.
Time now for our hits of the week, and we'll start with an honorable mention. Edmonton's Leroy Blue knocks Pee-wee Smith out of bounds, and Pee-wee levels a cameraman. The guy with the small name makes a big hit on a photographer and his camera lens. Third on our hit parade comes from the Eastern Final. Toronto's Don Moan filling in the middle for the injured Chris Gaines. Makes Robert Mims moan with this hit. In slow motion, we can see Moan, a 10-year veteran, can still dish it out when he gets the opportunity. Our runner-up for hit of the week occurs in the first half of the Western Final. Walter Ballard blindsides Tracy Ham, knocking the wind out of his chest and the ball out of his hand. More often than not, the nimble Ham was able to elude the fierce Calgary rush, but not this time. Now back to Winnipeg for our hit of the week. Toronto's Mike Clemens slashes through the middle, but there's Greg Battle, who sends the little man back the other way. The big linebacker outweighs Clemens by 60 pounds, so it's no surprise that in this meeting, Battle wins the war. This week on Fans Corner, we went to Vancouver and asked people what they thought of the ticket prices and the game being played at BC Place.
I think it's great. Should be played here under cover. Shouldn't be played on the prairies where you can't hold a ball in the winter. Any kind of ball at all. It's a great place to do it. They should have more than 35,000 people, though. That's the problem.
Vancouver is the best place in Canada, or Vancouver, or whatever. Key city of the world.
I think it's great. I'd love to go, but unfortunately I can't afford to pay $100 a ticket.
Well, it's been played here a few times, so no big deal. I'll watch it from my TV set.
What about the fact it's costing $100 a ticket? What about that?
That's why I'm watching it from my TV set.
As we look ahead to Grey Cup 90, we remember as well some great Grey Cup games of the past. Here's one of them for you now, en route to a timeout on the CFL Report. More still to come from Edmonton. Stay with us.
The 1970 Grey Cup final at Toronto's Exhibition Stadium is one many will remember. The Montreal Alouettes and Calgary Stampeders played in mud so thick it was like battling in the trenches. This was the last time football would be played on a natural surface at CNE Stadium. Mud in 1950, fog in 62, and wind in 65 are all memories of Grey Cups in Toronto. The horrible field conditions didn't stop the Alouettes from beating the Stampeders to win the 1970 Grey Cup. Trivia time. Name the 2 players who are making their second consecutive trip to the Grey Cup. The answer is Mike Walker, who last year played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and Winnipeg quarterback Tom Burgess, who was a member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders in '89. This week on the CFL's Best, we asked some Edmonton Eskimos who they thought was the most dominating Blue Bomber.
I'd say their linebackers, Greg Battle and Tyrone Jones, have certainly
had outstanding years. I think I had a game against Tyrone this year, and he had a sack going right over the top of me. So you know, I'll be happy to get another chance at him.
Chris Walby by far, because when they go toe-to-toe in there, it's like a brick wall. You can't get through there. And Burgess, he just sits back in the three-step drop and just throws it quick, and there's just no way you can get to the quarterback. And Chris Walby, I think he's the key to their offense.
I would probably have to say Tyrone Jones or maybe their safety Bovell. Both guys are real hard hitters. You know, they're motivators. They get their team going. You know, I guess you could say they're yappers on the field, but they certainly do the job for their own team. And you know, everybody rallies around these guys. And you know, once you get into their secondary, you've got to put up with these guys, because you know, if you get the ball, you're going to take a real good shot. And even if you don't get the ball, you'll probably take a good shot. So you know, those guys I respect, and you know, they're not only are they physical, but they do their jobs very well.
1990 has been a very good year for fullback Warren Hudson. The sixth-year man had his best season, earning a place in the East Division All-Star team. Before making it to the CFL, Hudson played junior football in Oshawa and college ball at Guelph. Although he can call himself a Guelph alumnus, he didn't really distinguish himself in college.
Well, I only went to college for like a year there, so and then I played junior ball, but foul weren't that much. We never really won that much or anything, so most of my memories have been playing the CFL.
Time for the CFL mailbag segment now. See what the public has to say over the last week or so. It's one of Leif Pettersson's favorite points in the show. Leif, it's all yours.
This week's CFL question comes from Craig McKenzie in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He writes, Dear Leif, who do you think is the best cornerback in the league? I think the two best are in Winnipeg. Well, come on, Craig. I mean, you want to know the best cornerback. Now, you picked two guys. Now, maybe as a group, you're right. But you fans in Winnipeg, you're not going to like this, but what the heck, you're not crazy about me anyway. I got to tell you, the best cornerback is in Edmonton, and it's Andre Francis. I sure hope he plays this week. You heard his thumb against Calgary, but he's the best in the league. Now, this is our last segment of the viewer mail, and I really want to thank everybody for writing in. We've had a lot of fun with it. Also had a lot of fun doing the Make Leaf Laugh segments all year. 15 players came on, and for the most part, told some pretty entertaining stories. The worst had to be Grover Covington of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The best? Well, you tune in next week, and I'll show you.
All right, Leif, thank you. And that's everything for this week on the CFL Report from Edmonton. A reminder to join us throughout the week for regular reports from Vancouver on Sports Desk as we count down to the 1990 Grey Cup game itself to be played Sunday between Edmonton and Winnipeg at the stadium at BC Place. In addition to the Sports Desk reports, of course, we'll have our final edition of the CFL Report from Vancouver next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and we hope you'll join us for that. For now, I'm Peter Watson, Edmonton. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you along the trail to Grey Cup 1990.